Welcome back to Peek into COS. Today, I'm joined by Susan Grace and Lauren Ciborowski, representing the Colorado College Summer Music Festival. It is great to have you both here.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for being here. So before we get into the festival, I want to talk a little and have our listeners get to know who you are and a little bit about your backgrounds and how you got to Colorado Springs. And so, Susan, why don't we start with you?
Okay. At the time, I was married to somebody who was stationed at Fort Carson.
Yeah.
So I came out here, auditioned for the symphony piano position, and got that position. And then the symphony, who was managed by B. Bradenberg at that time, started a symphony trio with the concertmaster, the principal cellist, and myself. And we played a concert, and one of the very distinguished pianists and professors from the Colorado College Music Department heard the concert and said, "Oh, you should hire her to teach piano at the college." And that's how I started my career many, many years ago.
And that was 19...
I'm not saying.
You're not going to say. We're going to let people guess that. Okay.
That's right. Yeah, and then eventually the job became full-time, and I've had a terrific time there. I have a lot of freedom to do what I want as far as concerts and traveling and doing my own concerts. So it's been an ideal situation for me there.
Fantastic. All right, and Lauren, what about you?
I'm also here because of Fort Carson, because my
Yeah.
father got stationed there. And it was his last tour of duty was here.
Okay.
So we got out of the Army while we were here, and that was in time for me to go to high school.
Sure, okay.
So then I stayed and went to Colorado College, where Sue was one of my piano teachers briefly. So I've known Sue for 26 years now,
Wow.
which is crazy to think about. And I've been attending the festival for about 21 years now, and I don't remember how long I've been on the board. I meant to ask before we started.
Yeah. Number of years.
5
yeah,
years,
definitely.
6
Yeah,
years,
probably.
somewhere
Yeah,
in there.
something like that.
Yeah, so that's how I got here. That's
Okay. So Fort Carson is a common thread,
It is,
which I
yeah.
think is the case for a lot of people. I mean, for those who don't live here, we have 5 military installations here. And so I do meet a lot of people who will say, "Oh yes, I was stationed here. My parents were stationed here." The military connection and the pride that people have, it's also to me interesting how many people choose to stay. It is just one of those communities that I have a background. I moved here in 2011 from the Washington, D.C. area. And Washington, D.C. is very transient. You've just got a lot of people coming through there. And when my wife and I got here to Colorado Springs, we were just amazed at how many people really chose to come and to stay. Yeah, they're not necessarily looking. So for those of you who are listening, we can't take you all, but we do love our visitors that do come here. Matter of fact, one of the things we talk about with the chamber is that today's tourist is tomorrow's talent, because a lot of people do come here and look around and look at those mountains and just say, "Wow, I wonder if they have jobs here. I mean, what's it like?" And so you all have had literally careers at Colorado College that have spanned a long time. So congratulations for finding it.
Yeah.
That's
We're very lucky.
Yeah, well, we
Absolutely.
are. Okay, so let's pivot a little bit and talk about the Summer Music Festival at Colorado College. This year, we're doing this in 2026, is year 42.
Yes.
Just amazing. Let's talk about the history of kind of how it started.
The first festival was in 1984, and the Colorado College Summer Session Dean, Elmer Peterson, and the music department chair, Michael Grace, along with John Giordano, who was conductor of the Fort Worth Symphony, put this idea together to have a festival. And so that's when it started. It was a teaching festival. We had some really interesting faculty at the time. John Giordano, who was concertmaster of the English Chamber Orchestra in London, was part of it. Stephen DeGroot, who had won the Van Cliburn competition in piano. John Giordano, who was conductor of the Fort Worth Symphony. And so we we brought students in. It was a teaching festival. It had orchestra and chamber music. And so, but it was shorter, much shorter than we are now. I think maybe 10 days. And then in the 90s, I then took it over because Michael Grace was tapped to be interim president, so he no longer could be involved. And so I took over the reins, decided that it was time to start raising money. So I did that, and then slowly we added more days to the festival. I started hiring new people who were very invested in teaching as well as in playing.
Yeah.
And we're kind of here where we are today, and we've been very lucky because the college has been such a wonderful home for us. You know, the upper administration is very supportive of us, and we just have a wonderful place to play. And so I'm very grateful for that. And we have really strived, I think, and thrived, and I love where we are today now.
Yeah.
So.
I went to the website and I read that in describing the festival, it says, it is an intensive 3-week program for 52 advanced student musicians that work closely with faculty who spend many hours coaching small ensembles, private lessons, and master classes. I thought that was a pretty good capsule, and the fact that it is now, so this year it will start on June 6th, and it runs for 3 weeks.
Right.
Right? Okay, and every year that's the time frame. School lets out, and so early June, if you're looking and wondering, and let's make sure we can do this a couple of times. Let's give the website address so people can find out information.
Okay. All right, the website is www.coloradocollege.edu/music festival.
Music festival.
Yes.
Okay, great. So Lauren, you said you were on the board.
Yes.
How big a board is it? A board that is very active and involved year round, or do they really focus on mostly on the festival?
So it's an advisory board. We have, I think, 8 people?
I think 10.
10.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I would say the level of involvement is sort of individual to the board member. I am what I have deemed aggressively helpful.
Yes.
So
Most definitely.
I do what I can to help. So my role basically is that I owned a gallery for 12 years, the Modbo Gallery.
Yeah, right.
And because of that, I still have press contacts, luckily, and so I try to get them as much PR as I possibly can. And then when I do get that PR, I shepherd the reporters through the process.
Okay.
The thing about the festival, I think, that is so lovely also makes it a little bit hard to describe in a soundbite, because although what they have on the website that you just read is great, there's so much more to it than that. And what makes it so unique is that it is a teaching festival. So the faculty who are here to help out with the fellows also give chamber music concerts, but the fellows themselves, they descend on campus. Almost 98% of them have never been here before.
Okay.
And they form what I call a pickup orchestra, which is of course too slangy for anyone actually involved with the festival. But really they get together.
Sure.
They start working with Scott Yu as the conductor, and then within 10 days, they give their first orchestra performance. And it's amazing how they come together. And then by the end of the festival, they have a second orchestra performance.
Okay.
So it really is quite a unique event in the sense that you're watching either seasoned professionals play chamber music in a small setting, or this rather large student orchestra in Cornerstone, which is the larger setting that they have. So I just wanted to mention that.
Well, no, I think that helps, because what we want to do is paint the picture of expectations for people who are wondering what the experience would be like. Now, the student musicians, are they CC students? Or
They're not.
So when you talked about the 98% of the people that have not been here before, they're coming from just the United States, or is it international?
It's North America.
North
From
America.
Canada, from the United States. We do get a few from Europe. So it's a very diverse group. They come from many of the top-rated music schools and conservatories, and we're just have a really high level of student talent here.
I don't want to compare this to, of all places, the Pikes Peak Hill Climb. But, the Pikes Peak Hill Climb is now over 100 years old.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we've learned about the hill climb is that it's on the list for drivers who say, Pikes Peak, I've got to do it. So I'm wondering, for the Summer Music Festival at CC, does it have that same kind
I
of
think that's an apt
facility?
comparison
Yes.
for sure. Yeah, it has huge cachet within the
Yeah.
classical music
Yeah.
world. It's a great thing for their resume, but a lot of these fellows are pre-professional, and this is a great stepping stone to what they're doing next, especially the chance to work with these faculty. Yeah, it's well known, I would say, and they're scholarshiped in,
They are.
so that's huge too.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was an international publication which comes out every year called Musical America, and we were listed as the preferred summer program this year
Wow.
by them, which was really amazing. And we were ahead of Juilliard, which is like, yes, this
Yeah.
is great.
Oh,
So,
that's
yeah.
fabulous.
Take that, Juilliard.
But we're well known, I think, among students across the country and especially faculty, because when I go to hire a new faculty member, they say, "Oh yeah, I've heard all about this, and I would love to be part of it." So we have a special, I don't know, just something special that happens when people are here.
There are student groups that I think over at the Broadmoor, every year they have a big DECA conference, Distributive Education Clubs. And people that have worked at the Broadmoor for a long time will talk about, they'll have people apply for jobs and say, oh yes, I came to the Broadmoor when I was in high school, for DECA. And so when you do have these long-standing programs, you never know how you are touching and influencing future musicians. And I imagine that when you look back with pride, there are people who have come through this. And do you have people working for you now that started in the festival, or are you just tracking careers?
Yeah, careers. We have principal oboist in the Atlanta Symphony. We have principal horn in the Baltimore Symphony. Some of our students have really set the bar high. We have somebody in the New York Philharmonic. So
Wow.
yeah.
How about in the Colorado Springs Philharmonic?
Yes, there are people
Okay.
in the Colorado Springs Symphony also.
Sure,
Yes,
in the symphony
absolutely.
that's great. Well, that's homegrown. I mean,
Yeah.
when you can do something like that. So let's let listeners. I'd like you all to both kind of tell people why this would be important to put on the calendar if they have never attended before.
Yeah. Last year, I remember at our first concert, we were starting the season again, and I remember sensing this excitement and energy in the lobby of our audience who were coming in, and that was so amazing because our audience are so connected to the musicians on the stage. Our faculty love to play together, and that excitement comes off into the audience, and it just sparks something. It's really amazing, and almost every concert gets a standing ovation, and people they're really invested in the faculty also, because we have a number of faculty who have been here for quite some time, and so they're very connected to certain people, and they really love it. And we find now more and more that we're getting new people coming in and and sharing this experience, and so there's something very special about the atmosphere.
And Lauren, do you know, what would your sense be of how many people who attend are local versus out-of-town visitors?
It seems to me that it's almost entirely local.
Okay.
But of course, we would welcome out-of-town visitors.
Sure.
And I think to answer your question, the reason to come is that it's simply amazing music. I mean, the caliber and quality of music is out of this world. But the other thing worth mentioning is that there are many different ways to attend. So you can buy tickets, and we can talk more about pricing. I think we should. But you can also go to free music at midday concerts, which happen a few times a week throughout the festival, and those are at 12:15 in Packard Hall. And they're short. They're usually about 45 minutes, and you get to see these students progressing as they're here.
Wow.
So it's really, it's fun for the people who are able to attend the whole concert series. You can really see the progression of these fellows, as they move from just getting here to working with the faculty to being in the orchestra to playing the orchestral pieces, at those concerts. And if you really want to follow that trajectory, it can be a fun hobby for 3 weeks.
Well, that's it. And one of the things that we know about visitors is they'll often ask about, where do the locals go? Like, where's your coffee shop? What are the places that we like to go? And you just said that a lot of the majority of the people there would be residents but visitors would be
Oh, yeah.
very welcome, very comfortable. They might not be here for 3 weeks, but literally you could come in and even just for a day or a couple of days, really get the overall experience.
We had somebody drive across country last year specifically to see our conductor, Scott Yu,
Wow.
who happens to be the executive producer and also host of the PBS series Now Hear This.
Wow.
And so they really wanted to meet Scott Yu, and so they did that. So we do have people who come in from other places, but yes, mostly it's local.
And let's not assume, let's let people know where Colorado College is physically located.
It's on, I don't know, it's down, it's on
downtown?
Uinta, yeah, and
Cash La Pudra, so
Lapudra.
just north of downtown in the beautiful Old North End, definitely
Yeah.
a place worth seeing.
Yeah.
And right up smack dab against Pikes Peak, like most everything else in the Springs, but
Right.
certainly a lovely view. And the facilities are quite lovely, and the acoustics are nice. It's a great place to visit. Right next door is the Numismatic Museum and also the Fine Arts Center.
Yep.
So plenty of things to do right in the immediate area. And there's a lovely restaurant on campus now called Evergreen
Right.
that I would wholeheartedly recommend if
Yeah.
you want to get a bite or a drink before or after a show.
Yeah. Let's give CC a little bit of a plug, because there will be people listening who don't know about Colorado College and what it's known for. So
Yeah.
let's just talk for a minute
Yeah.
about the school.
It's a wonderful liberal arts college. Let's see, it was established in what, 1874?
Yeah, like two or 3 years after the city was, because the city, it was 1871.
Yeah.
So yeah, 1874, that sounds right.
They teach on the block system, which there's one course taught for 3.5 weeks, and there's a series of 8 blocks during the year. And what
Yeah,
else do we do?
the block system is really the thing that sets it apart. There's
Yes.
only one other institution in the nation, I believe, that has it. And in that 3.5 week course, you're only studying one thing, and that equals one semester. So I studied Southwest Studies, essentially archaeology and German, and for languages especially, that way of studying is so helpful because it's immersion.
Yeah.
So it's a really interesting thing. And then you get 4 days off.
Okay.
Block break, the hallowed block break, which you graduate and real life doesn't have block break
Right.
anymore, which is a big issue for some of us.
Right.
But
And
yeah.
total enrollment is 2,000.
Yeah, what, 2,200 now? It's
2,200. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And for some people, one of the things that when I tell people and mention Colorado College, CC hockey comes up. I mean, it is a college that has hockey, a long history of
It
college
does,
hockey, and there are people that don't know necessarily that just a few years ago, Robeson Arena was built, and it was the first time in over 80 years, I think, that CC actually got to play hockey on campus.
Yeah.
And
And
Yeah.
I'm fully in the arts world, but I will say that my husband got us season tickets, and we go with my little one who loves hockey.
yeah.
And it's a beautiful arena, I will say, as a non-sportsing person.
Yeah, sure.
It's nice to go to. It's easy enough to park, and it's great to have hockey right on campus because it used to be a bit of a drive.
And thank you, Ed Robeson, for being along
Yeah.
with us.
Exactly, there you go.
That,
Yeah.
a very successful alum. So both of you have lived in Colorado Springs for a number of years. And so I want to talk about the Springs as a music destination. How would you describe the music culture of Colorado Springs?
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about this today. I think it's an exciting time for Colorado Springs for a number of reasons. I mean, if you want to look at the classical side, I think our Philharmonic has a new conductor, Chloe Dufresne. That's a
Right.
big deal. She's amazing. Obviously, I'm very partial to our festival and how amazing that is. And we have, other classical groups as well, Chamber Orchestra of the Springs, lots of other things. But when you think about venues, we have seen an uptick in venues just in the past few years that I, as a gigging musician, am delighted by.
Yeah.
So Lulu's downtown is huge and amazing. Several hundred people. The sound is great there, lighting, stage, the whole deal.
Sure.
And then we have the divier scenes that I think are getting a lot of momentum right now, and I'm super stoked about that. So the Black Sheep, Vultures, Thrashers, we have all these bars coming up on Platte.
Icons.
icons.
sure.
So where people can play, local bands can play local music. And there was a long, sad time period for a while in the early 2000s where we just had cover bands playing around town.
Yeah.
And now we have these original music venues, and that is huge for the scene.
Yeah, that's a great description. And then we've gotten, larger venues, the Ford Amphitheater up north for people. One of the things I remember hearing people talk about is that forever Red Rocks was where you had to go. Mm-hmm. And now to have an amphitheater here in North Colorado Springs is great. Now we're seeing Widener Field doing outdoor events. And so we've had venues that weren't here 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And so our music scene, we're looking at, music for Colorado Springs really as a tourism strategy that people both, local. It's interesting. We in our research, one of the things we know is that the number one reason that people come to visit for vacations is to visit friends and family. Mm-hmm. And so we know that locals are inviting people to come and I think that the music culture of Colorado Springs doesn't get as much credit as it should. I mean, people loved our trails and open spaces and the hiking and all the things that we're known for, but we look at music and the fact that this festival is 42 years old, and a lot of people come to Colorado Springs for the first time to even get involved with this festival. So I think it's just a wonderful example of, and I guess I also am interested in your thoughts on local musicians. You've talked about some of the people that are here, but are there musicians that you live here that might not get the kind of either notoriety or just who would people want to know live and perform here?
In jazz, I would say Ricky Schwem.
Okay.
He's quite something, and he's actually going to do a jazz session and jam session for the music festival this summer, which we're looking forward to because we have a number of students who are always very interested in jazz.
Okay.
Yeah. So he would be in the jazz world.
I'll go to the other end of the spectrum with punk. Cheap Perfume is an amazing band that is really making waves right now.
Okay.
You should definitely look them up. They hit it big with a song that was on TikTok that went viral.
Okay.
But now they're touring and opening for really big bands and doing the deal. But they're playing at the Black Sheep, in early June. Actually, I get to guest on a song with them a few nights before the music festival, so it'll be fun to go from one end to the other.
Good.
So that's the punk world. And then Sue mentioned Icons. I think that's worth mentioning again.
Yeah.
So, that's they build themselves as that gay bar with the singing waiters.
Yeah.
So everyone there is an amazing singer.
Yeah.
So they take breaks from slinging drinks to perform on stage.
Yeah.
It's really a very cool environment.
Yeah,
And the owners there are just amazingly talented.
Yes,
and they've
they
done
are.
a number of, FAC productions and
They
Center,
came from Broadway.
Yeah.
they
Josh
came
and John.
from- yeah.
I know.
They're
Yeah,
great.
we did a fun podcast with them.
Yeah.
All right, so before we start to wrap, I want to give a mention to the sponsor of this week's episode, which is the United We Rock Festival, taking place at Rockledge Ranch on August 1st, which is Colorado Day. The event promises an unforgettable afternoon of live music, local flavors, and hands-on Western fun. As the U.S. celebrates its 250th birthday and Colorado turns 150, this milestone party is one you won't want to miss. So mark your calendars for Saturday, August 1st, and get ready to enjoy everything from jazz and Americana to bluegrass and dance music at Rockledge Ranch. All right, so I want to ask you some questions a little bit out of the box, but I'm going to ask you to maybe put on your visitor hat when you think about inviting people or where you like to go. So, Sue, I'm going to start with you and ask you to describe Colorado Springs in 3 words.
Beauty.
Beauty.
Yeah, beauty. Accessible.
Okay.
And fabulous weather, which is more than.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
true. Okay, Lauren, how would you describe it in 3 words?
I would say diverse, but I want to qualify that for a second. I think what you mentioned about having so many military communities here is so interesting to me because we get such an influx of people from all over. So I think we really are a very diverse city as far as our demographic makeup. I would say Pikes Peak stands out for me as a qualifying thing about Colorado Springs.
Right.
And then, I don't know. I mean, it's a great place to raise a kid, family friendly.
Family
How's
friendly. Yeah, that's great. That's a good descriptor. Okay, let's stay with you, Lauren. What would you tell listeners is your favorite hidden gem in the Pikes Peak region?
Well, it's definitely the Colorado College Summer Music Festival.
Yes, I would agree with that.
I knew we were going there. Besides the festival, where do you like to go? That's kind of your place to relax and chill and just be you.
I'm not a person who relaxes or chills. I do love downtown Colorado Springs,
Yes.
though. I would say that is a hidden gem. You know, downtown doesn't want to be a hidden gem, and neither does our festival. You know,
Sure.
it's terrible terminology, but you know, still people don't. I've been on several downtown boards, and I have this innate urge to get people to come downtown because it's so important and so special.
Right.
It's really the lifeblood of our city, and there's so many lovely things to do there: restaurants and bars and shops, and the now renovated playground. If you also, like me, have a little one. And
Yeah.
So downtown.
Okay,
is my
great.
answer.
Sue, what's your
Oh,
hidden
gosh.
gem?
Oh, my hidden gem. I neither relax either. so it's like, I don't know. I guess there's some amazing, hikes in the Garden of the Gods.
In the Garden of
and
the Gods,
things
sure.
like that, yeah.
Yeah, so you can go get grounded. Yeah,
Exactly.
okay. All right. My last question, Sue, would be, do you have something on your Colorado Springs bucket list that you have not done
Wow.
and you've said, I have always wanted to?
That's a hard one. I have to think about that.
Okay.
These questions are difficult. Really? What is on my bucket list? Oh, gosh. I'm totally stumped.
All right, well, we'll come back
All
to
right.
you. Let's let Lauren take a swing at that.
I feel like I should surely climb Pikes Peak at some point soon here.
Okay.
The only 14er I've climbed was in New Mexico. I'm a person who loves hiking and being outside.
All right.
I happen to know it's one of the more difficult 14ers to climb.
Right.
But I think it would be
Yeah.
great to view. I mean, I have been up to the top of it, but that was to eat the
See-
donuts, which was basically
and
the
seen
opposite of
have you
climbing.
have you been up since the new Summit House
I
was
haven't,
built?
no, and
Okay.
it looks so cool.
So yeah, that changed the experience completely. I mean, you know, the COG got rebuilt with new tracks and new cars, and so then building a visitor center, the Summit, something worthy of being on top of Pikes Peak versus what it was before, which was kind of a lean-to, and
Yeah.
the only purpose to go was really the donut
Yeah.
and the view. But yes, I would encourage you to, if you're going to climb it, that's awesome. But you will enjoy the top.
Something I've been wanting to do is go to Icons.
To go to
I've never
Icons.
been there, and they asked me if I would be willing to be a judge sometime.
Okay.
When they do their American Idol evenings.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I've never
and-
been, so it's
And you know what,
totally
Sue?
different
They've
experience.
rebuilt it, right? Because
Yeah.
they had
Oh, I
a
know.
fire,
Yeah.
and so the new Icons is definitely worth going in to see. I would
Yeah.
highly recommend. Okay, so let's put a bow on it. Let's tell listeners once again the dates, the website, and why they should attend.
The dates are June 6th through 26th, and the music is absolutely top level, world class, and we have faculty who are both amazing teachers as well as incredible musicians. The orchestra, people walk away saying, this sounds like a professional orchestra. And the mentorship that our faculty and our conductor, Scott, you give, our students walk away and say, you've changed my life.
Yeah.
So, and just the energy and the excitement is something truly amazing. So I strongly, encourage everybody to come.
Great. Lauren?
I'll second all of that, and I'll plug one new event that we have this year. which is that on the 22nd, which is a concert of slightly newer music,
Okay.
we will be doing a wine tasting afterwards that my husband and I are leading at Evergreen,
Okay.
where we will be attempting to, I shouldn't laugh, we will very much relate the music that we've heard that night to the music, to the wine that we will be tasting.
Okay.
So I'll be at the keyboard playing snippets of the music while my husband expounds on the wine's beauty and how it might relate
So
to what we
that's
just
on
heard.
June 22nd.
Yes.
And it's at Evergreen, which is right there,
Yep.
so it's very easy to get to.
Right? Okay. And the website address again?
coloradocollege.edu/music festival.
Okay, great. Lauren, Sue, thank you both for being here and having our listeners really learn about what is an iconic, established event in Colorado Springs that we are fortunate to have here and to be able to support. And I hope that local listeners will think seriously about inviting their friends to come from out of town. And all we ever ask is that they don't stay at your house, they stay at a hotel. Yeah, exactly. Support tourism in some way, shape, or form, and go out and go to our attractions. It's one of those itineraries that you can come and enjoy the Summer Music Festival, but there's so much more to do and enjoy about Colorado Springs that makes it a special place for us to live and promote. So thanks for being here.
Oh, thank you. This
Thanks
is
for
fun.
having us.
Yeah.
Yeah.